I'm going to talk today about how to get your photos from your camera to your computer. When you look at your photos in your computer, if you're pretty well organized, you probably go to My Computer or Windows Explorer and see a window such as this, which shows your desktop. And if you click the plus sign next to My Documents, when you go to My Documents, it shows all those folders in My Documents, and also the same ones over here. And when you go down, one of them is My Pictures. When you click there, if you have your views set at thumbnails, then you see in the right-hand panel of that window a bunch of folders representing the folders within the My Pictures folder. But within any one of them, like the one that I have the majority of my photos in, and I've put a 1 in front of it so it shows up at the top alphabetically of My Pictures, you see a folder itself with thumbnails pasted on the folder that show some of the pictures that are in there. If I double click on that one and then go down to all the folders that are in the folder that I list as photos, you will find one called Seniors Computer Group. It has 262 megabytes of photos in it. And if I double click on that folder, and if the folders within it are set to show as thumbnails, which they are, I will find one called 2011, which has a bunch of photographs that I have received from Fred and from Tim, and some that I moved over from another folder within my computer. And then if I double click on one of those, I will see thumbnails of the actual photos, the individual files that are within that folder. And if I double click on one of them, the program that is set to open photos in my computer will open that particular file and show it to me on my screen. That's where you want to be when you get your photos from your camera to your computer. And now we'll talk about how to do that. First, you want to determine where your photos are stored in your camera and on what. Well, they are stored on some type of memory, and most cameras have memory cards of different types that slide into the cameras and on which each file is stored. Each photo you take, it becomes a separate file and is stored on that memory card. There are secure digital memory cards, there are compact flash memory cards, there are memory stick memory cards, and there's a micro secure digital. That happens to be the one that my camera has. The actual memory card is something about this big. This is pretty close to, well, you'll see it relative to the camera in a minute. But the actual card goes into this, and this is really an adapter. It says here adapter. The memory card goes in here. It's really tiny. You get it out with your fingernail from the adapter, but it's the adapter with this memory card in it that goes in your camera. Here is where the card goes in my particular camera. This is an illustration of how to insert and remove both the batteries and the memory card from my particular camera, which I took from my camera's instruction book. You simply push the card in, push it down until it's seated and let go, and it stays there. When you want to take it out, you push it again and it pops out, and you pull it the rest of the way out. There are three ways to transfer the images from your camera to your computer. The first is to simply remove the card from your camera and plug it into the PC directly. In the case of this PC, it has card slots on the front, and you can plug it in there. If your PC does not have card slots, of course, you cannot use this way. The second way is to remove the card from the camera and connect it to the PC with a card reader. Here is a particular card reader. They're quite inexpensive. They're USB devices. That's a USB plug. You take the card out of the camera. You take the cap off the opposite end of the card reader from the USB plug. You insert the card there, and then you plug this into a USB port on your computer. The third way, and the way that I think is best for me, is to connect the camera to the PC with a cable. The cable usually comes with your camera when you buy it. It has a USB plug at one end and a special plug specifically for your camera plugs into a terminal on one end of the camera. I am now going to connect my camera to the computer and go through the steps that I would take to transfer some photos from that camera to my computer. I've just taken 2 or 3 pictures of the computer screen so that you can see the process. I have plugged the camera using this cable into my computer into a USB port. And now I'm turning it on, and a notice comes up in the back that says, please select the USB mode. I get 2 choices, one of which is a PC, which I'm pushing. And now the computer is noticing that it has a new disk or device. It's calling it Disk G. It's just the same as if I hooked up a new external hard drive to my computer, and it's decided that that's G. Well, it gives me several options. I can import music, video, or pictures using Real Player. I can edit pictures using Adobe Photoshop Elements, which is one program on my computer. I could copy pictures to my computer using Picasa. These are all ways that you can get your photos onto your computer, but I'm going to go to the way that I use, which is to open a folder to view the files using Windows Explorer. So I will select that and click OK. And then I will click Folders so that you can see where these folders and files are. This puts all the folders over on the left side and shows me where in my computer these folders are. They are in this removable disk G, which is actually my camera. It called it G because there's my hard drive, C. There's a separate part of my hard drive that this particular computer has information about this particular computer in D. There's my DVD or CD drive. There's an external hard drive that I have attached to my computer for backup, and here's the camera. Now, if I go into this folder in the camera and click the plus sign, it will show me that there are 2 folders there, and each one of those folders, and I will pick the second one because that's where the photos are that I just took. Each one of those folders is where my photos that I have taken are. And the three that I just took, four that I just took, are here on the 16th of November, which is when I am recording this. And if you look at the thumbnails of those in the computer where they are now, there they are. This one, this one, this one, and this one. They are all the photos that I have just taken with my camera. Here are the four of them, just so you can have a look. And here are those same four photos with Windows Explorer set up in full screen and with window titles and labels enlarged. Let me show you how I did that last bit, not because it's part of getting photos from your camera to your computer, but because some of you may need larger type, and this is one way to do it. I went to Start, then I went to Programs, then I went up to Accessories, and in Accessories I saw Accessibility. And in Accessibility I saw Accessibility Wizard. And when I clicked that, I got Welcome to the Accessibility Wizard, and that allows you to configure windows for your vision, hearing, and mobility needs. And I went to the next screen and chose this, Use Large Windows, Titles, and Menus. And that's how I got these rather large file labels. So, how do we get these four photos from my camera into my computer? Remember that right now they are on removable disk G, which is my camera and shows on Windows Explorer because my camera is plugged into the computer using that cable that I showed you earlier. To move these to the computer, or to copy them to the computer, you need to select each of them by holding down the Control key and clicking each one separately, or by holding down the Shift key and clicking the first one and the last one. And when you have done that, you can then right-click on any one of them, and a What Shall I Do menu comes up, and you can either cut them or copy them. I'm going to choose to copy them so that they will still be in my camera. When I click Copy, they are now on the clipboard of my computer, and when I find the place where I want to put them, I will click Paste. To pick the place where I'm going to put these four photos, I go to Windows Explorer, and in most cases, for most photos that I would take, I would put them down in My Pictures, as I showed you before. I would go to My Pictures, I would go to Photos, and I would either find a folder that was appropriate for these four photos or add one. But in this particular case, I'm going to put these four photos that I've just taken in a folder called Camtasia Studio, where I have all these mini seminars that I have recorded. There is one called How to Get Your Photos from Your Camera to Your Computer. And when I click on that, I see over here that there are already some photos However, I want to put these in a separate folder in how to get your photos from your camera to your computer, just because I want to show you how to make a separate folder in how to get your photos from your camera to your computer. You do that by clicking File, New, and going over to Folder, which puts a new folder in how to get your photos from camera to computer. And now you can type here what you want this new folder to say. And I'm just going to call it Demo Photos. Type Enter. And now, when I click the plus sign next to how to get your photos from your camera to your computer, it will show two folders in there. One of them is Demo Photos. This is the place that I've decided to put those 4 photos that I just took to demonstrate to you how to finally get your actual pictures from your camera to your computer. So now I will right-click on Demo Photos. I will get a menu again, and I will click Paste. And there they are. And when I look at them in Thumbnails, there they are. Now that you know how to do this in detail, let me show you a much shorter way to find out how. You go to Google and you type in, how do I get pictures from my camera to my computer? And the first thing that comes up is an answer to that from Microsoft, which says connect the camera to your computer by using the USB cable, turn on the camera. In the dialog box that appears, click Import using Windows. Well, on my computer, which is Windows XP, not Vista, this isn't exactly what comes up, but something very similar does. Let me show you. I am connecting the camera and turning it on. And as you see, there are a bunch of menus that come up, and one of them says copy pictures to a folder on my computer using Microsoft Scanner and Camera Wizard. When I select that and click OK, a wizard comes up. Which says it'll help you copy pictures from your camera, scanner, or other device. When you click Next, the photos in your camera show on this list. It takes a while for them to show up, but eventually they all show up. They all show up with check marks in them, and you should first clear all check marks and then just select the 1 or 2 or whatever you want. I'm going to just pick one more. Well, no, I'm going to pick 3 more, so you can see how it works with multiple photos. Then I'll click Next, and it will ask me where I want them. And I'm going to call this the second set. And I'm going to tell it to put them in the Demo Photos place in Camtasia Studio, where I put the other 4. So I'll click OK, click Next, and I'm done. Now, when I go back to Windows Explorer, I see 3 additional photos in that Demo Photos folder, labeled Second Set 001, Second Set 002, and Second Set 003.